everybody, we're going to go through everything we know about Guild Wars Reforged release. So, we waited till today to make a video so we could compile all the information from the live stream with what we already know. And I'm just going to quickly flip through it. So for those of you not in the know, Guild Wars is re-releasing under Guild Wars Reforged. So essentially, a team of 4 people who work at a company called 2 Weeks are being contracted out by ArenaNet. These are previous Guild Wars 1 developers who have 14 years of experience working with ArenaNet. So, yeah, essentially they're going to contract out, and they're going to start working on Guild Wars 1. For now, all we know so far about Guild Wars Reforged, there is no content update. There is only stuff that is improving the quality of life of the game and playing it. So we're going to go through a bit of that now. And I'm just going to quickly flip through here so you can see on screen. So here's a mention from Steven CW, who's, if you're familiar and you played Guild Wars, you'll have seen him. He's the one Guild Wars 1 dev we've always had. So originally, when he first started, he was working part-time on Guild Wars 1, but also working on Guild Wars 2. And over time, he worked more and more on Guild Wars 1, and eventually he was able to start working full-time on Guild Wars 1 as a developer and as the game director. So that was pretty cool, and a lot of us were really excited when Steven started communicating with us on Reddit and such. So, but yeah, this is just some of his thoughts about Reforged and about what it took to get it to where it is now. So I thought I'd put this on here just as kind of an explanation. If you didn't see the live stream today, this is a very good insight into the mindset that ArenaNet seems to have around Guild Wars 1 at the moment. So yeah, give that a read. I'll have all the links in the description for all of this stuff. But yeah, essentially, they're wanting to work on Guild Wars 1, and they are hoping to put effort into it. So what did we actually get so far? So confirmed, and let me just pull my notes up on screen so you guys can see this here. If I pull it up here. So here's the notes. The Guild Wars 1 website was updated. So if I pull that up, we can quickly go over here and see what the new website looks like. Pull it up here. And then we'll hide the notes and show the website. So yeah, the Guild Wars 1 website was updated, and it looks really fresh. This is the main page, so they have then this new key art on the website. Looks very, very good. There's a video as well, so this video is the trailer that they released. It is a modified version of the original Guild Wars 1 trailer. Yeah, and then, yeah, we won't read through this whole article. We're just going to go through the features and stuff to sum it all up. But there was also a IGN article on this update where they talked about what they were doing and some of the mindset. And I would also recommend reading this. This will also be in the description. This kind of goes into the mindset of, you know, what were the developers wanting to do with this update? And what are they going to actually release? So, yeah, we're going to get into that a bit. And let me just hide that. So, yeah, getting back into our notes. So what else changed? So the website changed. Guild Wars 1 is now officially integrated with Steam as of December 3rd. So right now you can already buy Guild Wars 1 on Steam, but what it does is it just creates an ArenaNet account, like a regular ArenaNet account in the background. It's like you're buying, they said, like buying your game on Amazon, right? So you essentially get a CD key. You can copy that CD key into your account, but it's not a Steam account. It's not linked directly to your Steam user, right? So as of December 3rd, you'll be able to presumably purchase. So this is something we didn't get answered during the live stream. We don't know if you already own the game on Steam, if it's just going to let you create an account with the game you already own, or if you're going to have to separately purchase. I'm assuming you're going to have to separately purchase it again, and it's going to be under Guild Wars Reforged on Steam, with the new logo and everything. But again, we don't know these details yet. It wasn't something that got asked during the live stream, so we're unsure at this time. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But yeah, with that new Guild Wars 1 account on the Steam account, you'll then be able to link your Guild Wars 1 to your Guild Wars 2 Steam account. So yeah, that's really exciting. You've never been able to do that before. So if you have a Guild Wars 2 account that you bought through Steam and you're using a Guild Wars 2 Steam account, then you'll be able to connect it to this Guild Wars 1 account and get your Hollow Monuments. So very, very important stuff there. Next up was the Steam Deck and controller support. So they're officially going to have official support. So they're going to be Steam Deck verified. And what that'll mean is it's essentially just a list of rules that Steam themselves set out for, how do you become Steam Deck verified, and they've passed all those rules. So it's built-in controller support. It all works out of the box. If we pull up our slideshow, I can actually show you a preview of what this looked like. We already went through that. So here's just a preview of what the controller support on the skill bar looks like. As you can see, there's modifiers for left and right trigger, and then you can hit any of the controller buttons to cast the certain skill you want to cast. But yeah, it's fully built-in controller support. This controller support is 100% built into the game. This is not only on the Steam Deck edition, this is also in the main client, so you can plug a controller into your PC and play with these controls. So that's really, really nice. And yeah, so outside of that, all the controller support looked good. We watched them play, and it seemed pretty easy. It didn't seem like it was anything too bad. It looked like it played pretty well on controller, so I would honestly recommend. I don't own a Steam Deck myself, but I'm very much considering getting a Steam Deck just to try Guild Wars out on it. Visual updates. So these were a little bit harder for us to see what was actually going on. So the actual visual updates, we couldn't really see them in game because the stream was streaming at 720p. But some of them you could kind of tell from screenshots, but not fully see. So the new skill icons, you could sort of see that they looked a little updated, but the resolution was so blurry, it was really, really hard to actually tell what was going on. So yeah, I can try and pull up the stream real quick here just so you can kind of get an idea of what this looked like. But yeah, you can see here, Power Shot, for example, it's kind of hard to tell, but it does look updated. But again, they were streaming at 720p. You can see the stream quality we had to deal with here. It's really hard to see what's actually going on. You can see some of the new UI here as well. So this is what the controller UI looks like, and here's what buttons you need to press to do whatever. And quest tracker is the thing on the top here. But yeah, it was really hard to tell what was going on with the UI improvements because of the decrease in quality in the stream. But that said, it is possible to tell the icons were updated. These are HD icons that were previously made for the Guild Wars franchise. So these were things that already existed. The community has done a lot of hunting. So there are actually icon packs, I think, out that have essentially scans of these icons in them. But these are the proper icon files. They dug them up from, history that were never put into the game but exist. So you're going to get HD res signet. We don't know all of the skills, but it looks like Power Shot is one of them. Yeah, but that's very exciting because, I think we've all been playing with the existing icons forever. It'll be nice to have them a little refreshed, not as pixelated. There's some improvements around bloom, so I think some of the bloom looked a little bit blowed out before, and it was actually a bug, so they fixed a bug with that, and that's coming as part of this. There's also apparently new settings for ambient occlusion and lighting. We couldn't really tell in the stream. Like I said, it's not really visible from 720p and third party looking at the screen, but they've uploaded some screenshots, so apparently you can sort of tell the difference there. But again, I don't think it's any major visual difference. This isn't a complete visual rework. The game still looks like it does, right? But the most important thing, the game now natively works with 4K monitors. This was not something that was possible before. If you played on a 4K monitor, the whole screen, like the text size of everything, it would all look really, really bad, and it was really hard to read, almost illegible. It made playing this on a TV impossible for people that play on TVs. So that was something that wasn't really possible. And then there was a final bug fix. So you'll see right here, working with higher hertz monitors. So a while back, you'll have seen, if you looked at the patch notes, they actually disabled running the game with unlimited hertz. So you couldn't run it at 144 FPS or 240, for example. It was capped at 60. And the reason that they did this was because uncapping it was causing syncing problems with the with the server. So there was actually a few bugs related to the speed that your monitor was running at, because this game is literally so old that it wasn't accounting for the fact that, you know, there are monitors out there that run more than 60 frames a second. So they've apparently fixed bugs with that. So there actually is a thing in Toolbox that lets you uncap your FPS after they had made this update. So you can set yourself to 144 FPS and 144 hertz, but that's not going to be needed any longer. So you'll be able to just do that natively. It should just work again. So there's a new UI, sorry, the positional audio is the first thing. So previously, when you used to play Guild Wars, there was positional audio, but it was all hardware based, and support for the hardware based positional audio pretty much went away almost a year after that it came out. So the positional audio has not really worked in Guild Wars since that happened. Now they're re-releasing the audio as positional audio, but with software positional audio. So there were some fixes in the community, not in the Guild Wars community necessarily, but in the wider community for those hardware audio drivers that made them work with software audio, like positional audio. So they were able to get that in, which is really cool. So the game should actually sound better when you play it, and I think that'll be nice. It'll be interesting to see, you know, standing near a waterfall, how does it feel? Is it still deafening? Can I run away from it? Does it, you know, you get that effect of it getting quieter, etc. So we'll see how that goes. There's a new UI element for quest tracking. So I do mention here, we're unsure if it's movable or not. I'm assuming it is because it's Guild Wars UI and everything's movable, but as you can see on the screen here, it's on. They had it on the left, so it was on the left side of the screen. We don't know if you can move that yet, so there was no confirmation of that. They didn't try to move it; it wasn't asked. So, and we can just go over here, and I can just flip screens, and you can see it up close. It's like I said, it was blurry, but you can kind of see. You know, this is what it is. It tells you the quests that you have tracked in your quest log, so that's pretty cool. And so they did talk a bit about add-ons and Toolbox, for example. So no worries here. If you're worried about Toolbox not working after this update, the good news is they're already in touch with the Toolbox dev, and it's expected to take, you know, a day or a week or two or whatever to get it fully up to date, as far as they know. So there shouldn't be anything that's really big and breaking. They already did that earlier this year and already worked with the Toolbox devs to get that in place. Probably the biggest announcement of things we're getting now. So a lot of people have been concerned about the pricing. So they were like, oh, $19.99 for the 3 expansions. And I think that a lot of content creators were like, isn't that what we've always had, right? And you know, what's going on there? So it turns out that the base 3 expansions, so Prophecies, Factions, and Nightfall, that's $20 or £17.99. So you pay $20 for that. But what they didn't mention when they initially released that number is they are lowering all of the MTX pricing, including Eye of the North. They didn't give us a price, so we don't know what the actual price is, but they're changing the pricing of everything. So they went to their sales team and they repriced everything to make it more appropriate. So, for example, Eye of the North is, they said for sure, going to be cheaper than it currently is. We don't know how much it is, but we just know that the pricing is going down for Eye of the North. Now, for the MTX, like character slots and material storage, they said it was changing. They didn't say it was going lower, but I think from what they were saying, like from the, you know, attitude that they were saying, it kind of seems like they're just lowering the prices. They didn't explicitly say, you know, go through each thing and be like, oh, this is lower, this is lower, this is lower, but we have a general idea. They're likely going to lower the price for all of those. So yeah, after December 3rd might be a great time to pick up your MTX if you want it. Yeah, so that's getting into everything that was added with the update. So all of that stuff up till now is everything that was added with the update. And I think that a lot of people, you know, were like, well, this isn't a content update, this isn't a rework, like, who cares, right? So this got into the part of the stream where I think that a lot of us cared more about, so I really wish they would have spent more time on it, but I know they can't, because they would basically just be sitting there, you know, saying, we can't promise anything the whole time, and yeah, we want to do this, but that's essentially what we got. So they said that they're very keen to add new content, but they don't know what the scope of it might be, and they don't know if it's going to happen in the future. So it's going to depend on the amount of support they see for the game, right? So essentially what we know is every single one of them, everybody in that meeting, so the people at the company 2 weeks, who are the existing ArenaNet devs, and Steven CW, obviously, they want to add new content. So it's something that they want to do. And part of what I wanted to talk about was actually, so this pricing changes, this doesn't seem like it is anything crazy. This seems like it was kind of the norm at face value of what we'd seen before, like with the anniversary pricing. This is actually a complete mindset change. So they're not considering Eye of the North an expansion anymore. Eye of the North is DLC now. So everything in the Guild Wars 1 store is now considered DLC, and that's something they explicitly said. So they've structured it that way now. So because everybody will own the base game with all the expansions, right? It means now they can add in new DLC, and everybody will have access to that stuff, right? So it's something that I don't think anybody's actually talked about. Back in the, if you go back to Nightfall, for example, back in the time when, they were considering Utopia. They were considering adding Utopia to the game. A big problem that they would talk about at the time, and why it was part of why they went to Guild Wars 2, was they wanted to be able to make new content, new expansions, etc., without having to then go back and create content for all of the existing expansions. Because each expansion that they would create would increase in scope no matter what because of the existing expansion structure. So, for example, if you bought only Nightfall before, because it was possible to only own Nightfall, you didn't own Prophecies, what that meant is if you then wanted to go to factions, they had to have a way for you to get 2 factions from Prophecies separately, also to going from Nightfall. And the same thing applies to each of the other expansions. So for every expansion they add, each one needed another way to get to all of the expansions, right? And that really complicated things for them. So with this change in model, everybody owns all expansions. The new DLC is a new area in the game where everybody owns, no matter what, right? So what they're doing essentially is setting themselves up for success here. So in the, far off, distant future, maybe a year from now or 2 years from now or something, where, things go spectacularly, we get, everybody get into Guild Wars 1, everybody's logged in and playing, and ArenaNet's like, oh, we want to do another DLC or like a mini X pack. What they then can do is then release a DLC that, everybody already has access to, right? They don't have to do connector quests because everybody owns Nightfall. So if they wanted to do the expanded Nightfall quests, they can just release those as a pack that anyone can go and buy and everybody will have access to. And there's no Prophecies only characters that won't have the ability to go and access those without, self-imposed restrictions and such. So that's really exciting. And I think that that's something that nobody's really talked about yet. I think that change in mindset of, considering all of the previous stuff all one core game and now adding in new DLC will kind of change the game for them. It will make it easier for them to go and say, let's make a bonus mission pack, only for the Guild Wars Beyond for Nightfall. So we'll make that, just only for Nightfall or whatever. But since everybody owns it, if you want to play it, you buy it and go play it, and it's fine. So, yeah, like I said, they set themselves up for future DLC. One thing they did note, there's not going to be any fresh servers. So they explicitly were very clear about this. They don't want to do this. They don't want to split up the player base. And that just is that. I personally agree with this. I think that splitting the player base makes no sense at this point, especially with how small it is. It's not super, super small. There's thousands of people that play. But as soon as you start fragmenting that, it's going to cause problems for the original game. And as I said, they want to create content. They don't know what the scope of that content might look like. So we don't have any commitment right now, as of today, of the fact that they're going to create content. But what they're saying essentially is they've created this DLC system. They've done all these updates to prepare for them to create content potentially. And they can't promise anything, but that's you know, that's what they're trying to do. They want to create content. They want to create stuff for us and make it work, essentially. That's what they were saying. So, yeah, I felt a bit vindicated, and I was just smiling the whole time listening to them to say this, because, yeah, essentially they're saying what, you know, we kind of wanted them to say. We want to see content. They want to see content. How do we make that work? So, yeah, getting into that, I think that there is a very good bet to say, assuming everything goes well, and, you know, we all start playing the game, we get people involved, invite your friends. That would be my recommendation. If you don't know what to do now, you know, you're like, okay, Guild Wars 1, I want to play it again. What do I do? If you want to buy the game on Steam to link to your Guild Wars 2 Steam account, I would recommend doing that. If you are an existing Guild Wars 1 player who has an account and, you know, you want to go and come back and maybe say you've not played in 10 years, go buy another character slot on the 3rd when it comes out, just to show your support. I think that the best thing we can do as players to show them that we want content and to tell them that we want content, you know, go onto Reddit, talk about it, and then also show your support when the 3rd comes around. But yeah, that was pretty much everything that they discussed. Like I said, it was a bit of a short stream. They didn't really go into a whole lot. We didn't really get to see, you know, any new features. There wasn't any new quests or anything like that, but I think that this is a very hopeful time for Guild Wars 1. And, you know, if we can do our part as players and, you know, keep pushing them to make more content, tell them that we will be there to play it, we will buy it, I think that we might actually start seeing, you know, at least on some scale, some kind of content. As far as my plans, I'm going to be buying a new account, Steam account, on the 3rd for Guild Wars Reforged, and yeah, we're going to play through it. We're just going to probably play normal, so I won't be doing a solo challenge with that account. We'll just be playing with people and heroes or whatever if we need to, but yeah, if you want to play on the 3rd, yeah, just come around. I have that part of the week off, so I'll be taking that part of the week off to play. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. That was a bit long-winded. I'm going to do a separate video on what I hope that second upcoming part will be, so what content I want to see and what content I think the players would like to see. But yeah, I'll put links to everything. Like I said, I have all the links right here. I'll put them all down in the description, and you'll be able to go through and check all the sources and everything if you need to, whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in a bit.